So we are we're still in Esther, and I may be going backwards here. I don't remember. Yesterday I was driving, and me and Christy talked after I got through with the deal about Esther, and then this morning, Christy's really studied Esther a good bit and taught it 3 or 4 times. She went through the book of Esther with a group of women, and so I went back. We talked yesterday about how when the king asked her what she wanted, she wanted to put a banquet on, a feasting, and then so they agree. You bet. And Haman and the king and Esther put on a banquet, and then she said, he said, what is it that you want? She wanted to do another one, and so I don't know. I'm not sure what the prolonged, why, you know what I'm saying? Esther did that for 2 days. But if you pick it up in Esther chapter 7, the king and Haman went in to feast with Queen Esther, and on the 2nd day, as they were drinking wine after the feast, the king again said, what is it your wish, Queen Esther? It shall be granted you. And what is your request? Even to half of my kingdom it shall be fulfilled. Then the Queen Esther answered, if I have found favor in your sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be granted me for my wish, and my people for my request. For we have been sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be killed, and to be annihilated. If we had been sold merely as slaves, men and women, I would have been silent, for our affliction is not to be compared with the loss to the king. The king Ahasuerus said to Queen Esther, who is he, and where is he? Who has dared do this? Esther said, a foe and enemy, this wicked Haman. Then Haman was terrified before the king and the queen. And so, not changing the story of Esther, not taking the Bible out of context, but applying it to what has been a part of my life and what I've seen happen in my life, and in many lives that around me that I've had the honor of being a part of over the years, is, and I sent a text out this morning to that group of young guys that Proverbs 21 says wine is a mocker, and strong drink is something, and the one that's led astray by it is not wise. And I, my text was, don't stay stupid. And here you have somebody that has Haman, who has gone after her. He's the enemy. Her and her people have been sold. That's what a life led astray. That life led astray under the addiction or under any scheme of the enemy. That life has been led astray. That life has been sold. And it's not just the life of the individual, it's them and their people, because everybody's got somebody connected to them. Everybody's got somebody that it just kills them. It just devastates them when they get led astray, whether it be drugs, alcohol, crime, adultery, betrayals. When you get led astray, when somebody is sold to the enemy, the devil always is his effort. It's plain. He is to steal, kill, and destroy. That's always his goal. That's always the enemy's desire. And so even when we're not saved, even before we are children of God, the enemy, the devil, his desire is to steal, kill, and destroy, and he uses all kinds of avenues and accesses, and we have a tendency, most of the time in our stupidity, come into agreement with him. We come into we just like the king did with Haman. he come into an agreement with him, not knowing what he was actually doing, was selling off the queen to be slaughtered. And this is the same thing that happens in life after life after life. They start walking in an agreement with a demonic influence or an overpowering influence, a powerful influence, worldly influence, and then their whole family. And so Esther's, at this second feast, her request is to block that. If we have been she says, for we have been sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be killed, and to be annihilated. Here's where our failure is. She goes on to say, if we had been sold merely as slaves, men and women, I would have been silent, for our affliction is not to be compared with the loss to the king. People get deceived and think, well, my sin's it just affects me. My drunkenness is just my problem. My choice, it's my right, my choice. It's my whatever all that is. They don't, you don't realize that, no, she's saying if it was just that, if it was just we were sold to be slaves, and not to be destroyed and to be killed and to be annihilated, then I would have never bothered the king. In our role, if Christ is our king, Jesus Christ the Lord, he is upon the throne. And in our role, we are the children. We are accepted and embraced in. Most people believe that we are the church, the body. We're the bride of Christ. I waffle with that because I think Israel is the bride of Christ. But I don't want to get into that because I'm not here to argue that. We have been engrafted. But often, what we don't realize, even as Christians, when we're in the position of Esther, we don't grasp that the enemy don't want to just, he's not just trying to enslave you to make your life, he's to make your life hard or struggle, or he's never satisfied with just making you have a bad day. He wants your children and your children's children. He wants your people. He wants steal, kill, and destroy. And so when we approach and when we find when we confront, we got to know the depths of the schemes that the scriptures teaches us. Be aware. Christy said yesterday, be as innocent as lambs and as wise as serpents. We need to know the schemes of the enemy. We cannot be unaware. I mean, and so when we go to the king, when we are in front of the king, I'm just saying, I don't know how to say what I'm saying. Our prayer life would be, it flips when we realize, oh my gosh, this is killing me. It's been killing you. Or it's been killing your family. And we, until we get to that point where it's like, this is killing me. Literally, it's been killing you. And the quicker you bring that, how do you bring it? How does that done? I love the fact that it says, she had the banquet with Haman in there and the king. I mean, she like, can you imagine? Like, what? So here's what a lot of us do. We don't take the scheme, whatever it is that is the Haman in our life. We could call him the hangman. Whatever it is that's the hangman of your life, you try to get away from it. You try to, and you don't bring it to the throne. You don't confront it open, honest, transparent before the throne. We ask the Lord, and I think it's just there's some beautiful imagery here of what it is like when someone is to that point that they are so broken that there is nothing hidden from the throne. There is nothing that they're covering. There's nothing. There's no secrets. There's no lies. They are bare and open in front of the Lord, in front of the King. And it says, then Haman was terrified before the king and queen. We don't realize the power that happens, or the I don't know. Maybe I don't know if power is the right word, but Haman it's flipped, and Haman is terrified in front of the king and queen. If we grasped to bring that struggle, to bring that hangman that we are battling, if we grasp to bring that to the king it's me, my king, and my hangman, and I tell my king in front of the hangman what it is that has to be dealt with. I quit living in fear, and the hangman becomes afraid. But if you leave one of those three components in this whole deal out, the hangman still has the opportunity to hang you. Might be, and he'll wait. The hangman will wait. He'll wait for years. Nobody likes a hangman. Nobody. And so when you're living with a hangman, when you know there's something, anything, it's inevitably, the powers and the desires are to kill you, steal, kill, and destroy. When you know, man, I think it's important that you fast and pray. I think it's critical. I think it's critical that when you go before the throne, you go in Jesus. You put on your royal robes, and in Jesus' name, you go to the throne. And it is pivotal that you be so transparent that you, the hangman, and your Lord, and the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ, it flips. It flips. Too often we go to the Lord in prayer, seeking what we need and desire to deal with our hangman, but we don't go with the hangman. We don't do it in front of the hangman. I think when you begin to go to the Lord in prayer and confront the hangman with the Lord's in the Lord's presence, and the hangman prayer. If you're in a marriage, whatever it is in your marriage that is trying to kill your marriage, you take it, you confront it, you call it out in the King's presence, and then it's you and the King against whatever that is. It's your walk with the Lord, your spiritual journey, your growth in understanding the Scriptures, your whatever you take that to the throne. And you call that out. Fears, failures, all that. Lies, deceit, deception, all that. You take that to the throne. It's like, imagine a courtroom. Imagine a courtroom in the man, you don't want to keep no evidence undisclosed, because if there's undisclosed evidence, then there's not full transparency. Truth can't you? There's not a complete verdict rendered. There could be a mistrial. Heck, how many of us have had mistrials when it comes to spiritual warfare? And you think you've resolved and settled it, and all of a sudden, no, you didn't, because there was something not brought in front to the Lord, not brought in your presence, in the Lord's presence. There was a hangman left out. Don't leave a hangman out. If you got a hangman, hang him. Hang the hangman. Have a